Hi Red Door, I am here to talk to you today a little bit about measurement, which is our first math activity for the week. So it looks like this. It is how many inches, and then you are supposed to measure from here to find out how long these different strings are, and then write the answers down here. So this is a tape measure. This is one tool that you can use to do this activity. A tape measure, also called a measuring tape, is a flexible ruler, and they are made from a variety of materials. So this is a tape measure that originated in tailoring, but is now used specifically for carpentry. And it is in imperial units, which include inches, feet, and yards, and miles, and so on and so forth. The other system of measurement would be metric, which would include things like centimeters, meters, kilometers, millimeters, and so on and so forth. So we're just talking about imperial or standard measurement this week. So how to read a tape measure. First, you want to find these different markings. So you'll notice that there are some numbers here, and these represent inches. So this would be from the end of this metal part to the, I can even show you, from the end of this metal part to this one would be 1 inch. So this metal part starts at 0 and then goes on so that you can measure from there. So here would be 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, and so on and so forth. Once you get to 12 inches, there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So there is a marker here that at the 12-inch mark that also indicates that it is 1 foot. From here on in a tape measure, you'll notice that another set of numbers appears. So you can see from here, for example, that there is 1 foot. And then at the 13 inches, there's a 1 above it. That red one represents 1 foot and 1 inch, 1 foot and 2 inches, 1 foot and 3 inches, and so on and so forth. Now we're going to talk a little bit about what these little lines in between the inches mean. So these little lines in between here are actually representative of fractions, which we already talked a little bit about, and this is the real life application for why fractions, one of very many reasons of why fractions are important. So these fractions, there are 16 little dashes here, so that would be, each one would represent 1/16 if you were only measuring in between the lines themselves. Now, we also talked about equivalent fractions, so some of these can also represent something else. So this big line right here between the 2 and the 3 represents half of an inch. So if you measure something, for example, if I wanted to measure this notepad, or let's measure 1 sheet so that we can get an exact measurement. You would put the metal part, the very beginning, start at 0, and you would want to measure how wide this sticky note is. So I can see that it is exactly 4 inches. So I can say, okay, this is 4 inches. Now, if I was to, let's see what else I have here to measure. If I was to want to measure my bookmark, for example, which you guys sometimes see in my reading videos, you can see that it doesn't land, if I start at 0 here, it doesn't exactly land on one number. It lands in between the 3 and the 4, and I can see that it actually lands right at the 3.5 mark. So this would measure 3.5 inches wide, and I can write that by writing it like this. So if I wanted to write that this was 3.5 inches, I can write 3.5 inches. So in your worksheet, what this looks like, or the practical application of that, is that you want to take a tape measure or a ruler or any other kind of measuring utensil, and you want to put 0 on one end of the string and then see how long the string goes. So I can see that this string is 4 inches long. So I would take my handy dandy pen or pencil, and her name is Karen and her name is Jessica. So Karen and Jessica's string is about 4 inches long. Lynn and Jill's string is about, starting at 0, there's Lynn and Jill, is about 2 inches long. So make sure the important things in measuring are starting at 0 and then seeing where on the tape measure or where on your ruler something ends. Have fun with measuring this week by measuring some things around the house. You could measure how tall you are, how tall your family members are. You could even do some kind of project. I know some of you guys have some projects that you are working on at home. You could be doing some building projects. Measuring precisely is a very important skill, and I hope that you get to practice it with more than just worksheets this week. Okay, hope this helps and have fun with measuring.